Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo.
I'm Nick.
Another great week, another great episode coming at you, and we're back, baby. Episode 80. I know we skipped last week, but congratulations are in order to Nick. He had a baby.
Wait, what did I do?
You had a baby. You
Oh,
didn't realize you had a baby?
yeah. I had a baby. So it was a unanticipated. Well, no, the baby was anticipated. What was unanticipated was how early she arrived. So I think we were planning on doing an episode last weekend, but baby arrived a week early, so we had to adapt. So that's the explanation of our silence, but
Yeah.
we're back.
Yeah, sometimes
All's good.
She picked the perfect week of like news to just jump into.
She wanted this game. She wanted, real time updates on the gaming landscape. So, she picked a good week. I think basically the baby was delivered, and then hours later, I was watching the Sony State of Play.
Yeah, she was like, I need
good.
that Final Fantasy Rebirth trailer.
Yeah. No pun intended, right?
Yeah, but or pun intended.
Or pun intended. Okay.
But yeah, congrats to you. You're a father. One of us has children, and that's a good
Hopefully
thing.
it stays that way.
Whoa! Shots taken.
Damn.
Who's gonna inherit this podcast?
This is trash. This is trash, dude. No. No, thanks, man. Yeah, no, you've. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the podcast.
No,
but,
we don't. I don't think
But
we mentioned it.
obviously, you've known about this for a while. But yeah, it's been a journey. So, but yeah, we're all home, recovering, figuring out how to be parents. So it's been quite the experience.
Yeah, that's good to hear because our fans know how dedicated we are about releasing these episodes, even though we don't think we're dedicated. Even though we think we're the worst, but we are a little bit dedicated.
And I feel like we have a lot of gamer dads in the audience. So
we're gonna have to make a gamer dad channel.
Yeah, maybe there's a gamer dad special or something like that. But definitely open to suggestions and pearls of wisdom of how to be an effective gamer dad.
Yeah, you heard it.
And
here.
I think, when we get into closing thoughts, that'll become clear because I basically just didn't play any games like all week. Which I think for first week's maybe particularly tough, and I'll figure out the right balance of things to carve out some game time. But yeah, I didn't really do too much in the last week or two.
Yeah, so if you have, for all the gamer dads out there at Pressing Buttons in the Pressing Buttons Discord, make sure you send your gamer dad tips to Nick, and we'll pick some good ones that we can talk about on one of these episodes, which would be funny. And
That's
then
great.
maybe if I ever have a baby, and just get away from Nick's doubts of me ever having a baby, then I can use those tips as well.
You should be a dad. You should be a dad.
Not
You just need
according
to
to
find
you bastard.
You just need to
Settle down.
There's a couple more steps before you can get there.
And then as well, we did. I did the first memory card episode. We released it. I released it in the middle of the week, I think, on Wednesday. I know we didn't have anything for 2 weeks, so I was like, let me finish up the first memory card segment that we wanted to do for the audience, and we want the audience to participate. So you can check that out in our YouTube channel, Pressing Buttons podcast. That way you guys can see what makes me tick in terms of video games, what I like about video games, how I got my video game name Platanero, which is always funny.
I had never heard that story, so that was very illuminating, and I thought it was hilarious that you basically just stole it from someone.
Yeah, I stole it. I stole it. But yeah,
no creativity whatsoever, just straight up stole it.
Yeah, it's maybe in the future I'll talk about what other names I could have used, because I was into like Bleach, so I could have done some Bleach shit.
I've had my fair share of cringy like anime gamer tags, so I I've abandoned a long time ago. Yeah.
I was into Trigun as well.
So I definitely had a Trigun one. I absolutely had a Trigun.
So yeah, it's a wonderful little video. It's about 6 minutes. I kind of go over what we're looking for in the memory card segments for whoever wishes to participate. And obviously, it's the first one, so it's a little bit rough around the edges. I was a little bit nervous because I felt like I made a little script for the start, kind of explaining. So that was kind of weird. I don't like doing scripts. I like going off the cuff.
You're just an unscripted guy.
Yeah, just off the cuff. But it turned out well, and hopefully you guys feel up to it, and you guys can send us your segments, and we'll put them in there and have the community sharing the joy of video games. And Nick's coming up soon whenever he has some free baby time, or free away from the baby time, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get started. It was definitely an eventful 2 weeks while we were away. We had a big information from PlayStation, big information from Nintendo with 2 directs from both of them, and then a big Xbox leak. So we're gonna be talking about all 3 of those things, which is really rare. We never really get the chance to talk about the 3 major publishers. With stuff that they have. So first we're going to go over the state of play. Sony released a state of play on September 14th, like Nick was saying. They went over a bunch of stuff, a couple of games I'll mention, but we're not going to go over, but just to let you guys know what they went over. They had some game called Baby Steps that looked funny, Ghostbusters VR, Resident Evil VR, Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, Ghost Runner 2, new PlayStation 5 plates, and colors, Foam Stars, and Honkai Star Rail release. But the major things which they focus on the state of play, which I really enjoyed, were Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC, which released on the 21st. It's basically Ada Wong's side story running parallel with the main story of the game. Looked amazing. Helldivers 2, an extended look at that third-person action game. I was a big fan of the first one. This one looks really awesome. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to play with a group and enjoy and just do wild and crazy things. And there's going to be friendly fire, so definitely going to be a lot of dumb things happening on there.
That's a challenge. After playing Remnant 2, and I basically
shot me all the time.
Shoot you all the time. Yeah.
Tales of Arise is getting a Beyond the Dawn DLC, which will be out November 9th. And then we had Spider-Man 2, an extended look, where you'll be able to explore Manhattan like you did in the first one, but now you'll also be able to explore Brooklyn, the home of Miles Morales, and then Queens, the home of Peter Parker. Hopefully we'll see Nick Stiggs around there in Forest Hills.
Nah, I looked at the map. It's basically like Astoria. It's like a chunk of Astoria. So that was the first thing I looked. I was like, oh shit, is it going to be, am I going to be able to swing through my neighborhood? And where, fun fact, Peter Parker, like, canonically is from my neighborhood. So I figured that it would, but it's pretty far out east. So I think from a game development perspective, that would just be too much map to have to figure out. So there's just like a certain area. I think it's more or less Astoria.
Well, maybe,
that's pretty much it.
Maybe on the third one.
Maybe, yeah. There's also like nothing. Just like it's not that interesting. Like I don't know if it would be that cool to like traverse, like flying through this neighborhood. So
well, there's a reason all the Marvel movies focused on like Midtown Manhattan, because anywhere else is like it's interesting for the people that live there, but for tourists and people that want to see it, it's not.
I could see maybe there's like, they just do like it's the subway or some fast travel thing to like this kind of area in Queens, but it's fine. But it's just cool. Like I'm just glad that it's it's basically Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan. So there's just kind of there's more there, and being able to check out those boroughs, I think will be fun.
Yeah, definitely a great added feature. You'll also be able to swap between characters, GTA 5 style, where you can swap between Peter Parker and Miles Morales. And also, if you run into them through the city, they could be on their own fighting crime or whatever, and you can help them out, or you could just be like, oh, you got this. And you'll have 65 suits to unlock. Some of them made by different studios. I know Ben Studios, who made Days Gone, they did an exclusive suit that they worked with. So that's pretty cool. So that looks really interesting. And then the final piece of trailer that they had was for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which they announced the official release date, February 29, 2024, right around Nick's birthday. They're always releasing these freaking awesome titles around your birthday, man.
My birthday has been banging for the last couple years.
Yeah. They showed off 2 demos at TGS as well. One of them has Sephiroth and Cloud. They showed off the synergy that you can do the combined limit breakers with 2 party members, which look really cool. They also said that you'll be able to craft items on this, so it's easy to create some potions in Phoenix Down. Main thing is, like I said, you'll be able to play a little bit as Sephiroth and as well as a chapter, an entire episode as Zack, which is also really cool. They also showed off Kate Sif. You also got Vincent Valentine, who'll be on there. They announced that he's not going to be playable, but you will be able to. He'll be in your party like Red 13 was in the remake part. So pretty interesting news. I think out of this whole thing, obviously the main things being Spider-Man and Final Fantasy Rebirth. Great information coming out of both, especially knowing that Spider-Man 2 just went gold, so it's set for release October 20th. I'm super excited about that. Obviously, it's in conversations for Game of the Year, but there's so many other games like Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate that I think would trump it. But I'm just hoping for a great game with great story, great comic book story that we know, especially coming from Insomniac, and more of the Spider-Man world. I obviously enjoyed. I think the web slinging was my favorite part. It just felt so smooth, especially after so many other Spider-Man titles didn't really nail it down. This one I felt like just nailed the whole aspect of swinging through the city of New York as Spider-Man. And then obviously with the unlockable suits, I think that's going to be great. And then as far as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I think, the more information we get out of this, it always looks great. I think obviously it being a remake and then now turned into its own thing with like a bit of a separate story, kind of diverging timeline kind of thing where you don't know what to expect. I think they're doing a great job with communicating with the fans and letting the fans know what to expect out of the games, but also making it fresh enough for whatever new audiences are picking up. And also the old audiences that enjoyed the original are also really, really excited about it. What are your thoughts? What kind of stirred you up on these things?
So much.
Yeah, that was a weird way. That was a weird way to phrase it.
What kind of stirred you up? I want to use that all the time now, FYI. But yeah, so obviously Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think the one that we didn't really talk about too much that I'm really excited about is the Separate Ways DLC. So before we started recording, I think you asked me a question about, say, like, what are you playing? What are you planning on playing now that you're hopefully soon we'll have actually more game time? And I completely, even though they just announced it and people have been talking about it, I already forgot about it because there's so much other good stuff, that I need to find time to play. But I am very, very excited about this. Resident Evil 4, definitely one of my favorite games of the year. I beat it twice already, and I was waiting basically for this DLC to kind of be like the next reason for me to go back into the game. So I think that'll be top of the list to try to get into in the next week or two. And then going back to Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy 7, Spider-Man, I kind of like to stop. Like, I don't want to see anymore. Like, it looks like I'm buying it. Like, it looks incredible. It was good to get some impressions from, I think, people who've actually played the game, and to, I think, validate that this is more of it's like a meaningful, next generation Spider-Man experience, as opposed to it being too similar or samey with the PS4 Spider-Man games. So it definitely looks to be like it's going to deliver. in terms of it being just like a more expansive and immersive Spider-Man game. So that looks good, but at the same time, I didn't focus on the trailer too much just because I feel like I've seen more than enough. On the other hand, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we hadn't seen that much. Like, you know, I think there was 2 trailers. Maybe there's another one, but I remember the first trailer being like, "Oh my fucking god, this is unbelievable." The second trailer, I was like, okay, like it wasn't anything crazy, but it was like cool. And I think I was like, whatever. This trailer was fucking unreal.
So much stuff. So much
Yeah,
stuff.
like this trailer was fucking incredible. I watched it like 3 times back to back. And I don't know if we're going to talk about Tokyo Game Show or not later, but then there was even more stuff. So this was obviously the trailer shown and the state of play. And then as a part of Tokyo Game Show, there was tons, like there was all these demos and there was a live stream that was like a couple hours or something. So there's just like a lot of information about this game. And even like halfway through that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just stop looking at this stuff because I've seen too much. And I know it's actually not that far away. I feel like February is gonna come
hit.
real fast.
Yeah.
So yeah. So February is not that far away. I knew I was already gonna buy the game, but I did want to just see how they're approaching the second one. You know, the second game. It definitely looks. I mean, I guess it's like open world is. I guess you can call it that. I don't know if it's going to be like, you know, Ubisoft open world, but there's like a big world map and you can explore and there's, you know, so I think it's much more closer to an open world game versus the first one, which was, you know, quite a bit more linear and the areas were more compact, which I was fine with. Like I still really enjoyed that, but I knew some people felt it was a little bit too like limiting. So this game solves that. Like it's big maps, riding chocobos everywhere, all that. You know, I think there was like a car. Segway. Yeah. So that should be addressed. If you had an issue with the first one because of small maps, that will no longer be an issue. For me, I think I sent you a text as soon as I saw the trailer the first time. The gold saucer.
You and your mini games and your casinos.
It looks so good. It looks so good. I figured it was going to be in this one, but to like see it and the amount of, I think they basically have like every mini game captured. Maybe there's like more stuff.
Yeah, it looks like they said that they'll have all the mini games. They might be a little bit reworked, obviously, with the better graphics, better controls, and stuff like that. So that's a real plus on that side.
Yeah, which is great because I love that stuff. Even in Final Fantasy 14, like I just spend an inordinate amount of time in the gold saucer and in that game, so that was cool to see. But all you really needed to say was gold saucer, playable Sephiroth, and like everything else is gravy. I think a lot of people are really digging like all the chocobo stuff, which I think is cool. But for me, it's the other 2 points pretty much sell me on the game.
Yeah, in regards to what you were saying, like where you don't want to see anything more from Spider-Man because you don't want to be spoiled. I'm okay with that end of it, just because like I think Insomniac is good enough where we'll be surprised by some stuff. Obviously with the first one and you know the story that went through it, which I don't want to spoil for anybody, even though I spoil everything unnecessarily. I think they did a really good job of doing some surprising beats on it. Whereas with the Final Fantasy, because it's kind of a reimagining with the divergent paths from the original one, I don't mind seeing all this stuff because I think it's going to change, and I don't remember that well, even though I was a big fan of the game. Like I said before, it's not my favorite Final Fantasy, but I do like what the remake is doing, and it has this conversation of just like ever changing, what's going to be different, what's going to happen. And the game is looking, from what the director said, that they're looking to end it where the big thing happens with a character. So obviously they're looking. That's probably going to be different. So that's why I think like with this, I can kind of watch enough of it, no matter what comes up, because I don't think it's going to spoil anything in a sense, because they're not going to spoil if there's a twist, and obviously if there is something that was from the original, we already kind of seen it, so that can't be spoiled, kind of thing, which is the reasoning for like Vincent, not a spoiler. But they haven't shown Sid or anything like that, so there's still a bunch of surprises, which I'm pretty sure that they're keeping it close to the vest, because you don't want to kind of throw everything out there. But the game looks freaking amazing, and like you said, playing as Sephiroth, you're going to be playing as Zack. Obviously, I think it's more of things that could have been, well, that couldn't be done in the original because the hardware wasn't there, the power wasn't there of the console. So now you have all this power. So yeah, why not do them? Why not do these extra chapters with characters that you wanted to play as? Do extra things, make the mini games bigger and all that stuff. Ride the chocobos, ride segways at the beach or whatever. It's just funny, good stuff. So I'm super, super excited. All right, and then moving on to the next topic, it's Xbox. So, for those that are not aware, Xbox had a big leak. Unfortunately, it was their own fault. So they uploaded some documents to the FTC website in regards to the Activision Blizzard purchase, and unfortunately they didn't redact a lot of the documents. So this contained a lot of information that they were hoping to keep under wraps. It was a lot of documents from 2019 to 2022, but it basically discussed a lot of the strategies going forward in terms of what they were trying to purchase, the games that they were trying to make and remaster, and their future efforts for like new consoles or what they were looking for the future. So we have some emails such as Phil Spencer saying that Microsoft should try buying Nintendo and Valve, which is, funny because I don't think that will ever happen. Documents mentioning that Elder Scrolls Oblivion's going to get a remaster as well as Fallout 3, and that there's going to be sequels to Ghostwire Tokyo and Dishonored. Documents showing that 75% of the install base for the Xbox is a Series S and 25% is the Series X. Those are figures from 2022, so it might be different now. I think it's more of a 50-50 at this point. That there'll be a refresh for the Series X next year, which will have more storage, faster Wi-Fi, and reduced power consumption. They're also trying to release a new controller, which, like the PlayStation DualSense, will have haptic feedback and better Bluetooth. And then the next Xbox, which they're looking at out in 2028, will be more of a cloud hybrid machine. Phil Spencer responded to this by saying that he was sad that the leaks came out, and just kind of telling people that a lot of things have changed from this time. So don't take it, fully. Take it with a grain of salt, and there's a lot more stuff that people should be excited about. Very, very just weird circumstances for this thing. I think as soon as the leak came out, everybody thought that like it was the government. It was like, oh, the FTC just leaked this because they're idiots. But surprisingly funny that it came from Microsoft's side. And then as far as like everything that got leaked, it's very interesting. Look at the the inner workings, the corporate inner workings of the exclusivity deals, with how much they were trying to get games for on Game Pass, their ideas behind purchasing other publishers, something like Nintendo, which we think it can't be done. Just Nintendo's gonna be Nintendo forever. I don't think they would want to be bought or sell themselves, and I don't think anybody could do that because they're always going to do good. And then just kind of their thinking behind what the future of their gaming market is going to be, going cloud-based. So pretty interesting stuff. I know, you being kind of more the numbers guy and the futures guy, what did you see out of this that kind of piqued your interest and was like, oh, that's a very interesting way of doing it? And what do you think this does for their future?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually been a part of a leak, or like the company I was working at had some stuff that was leaked, and so I kind of sympathize with their situation where it's super shitty and a lot of like thought and care goes into things that are said publicly. I think for a lot of reasons, and internal comms can be, a little bit more direct, and things change all the time, and things aren't perfect, and so when that stuff gets leaked, it's like it's not great. It creates a lot of noise. So I'm sure right now they're just like, how did this happen? What's like the like what damage has been done with certain relationships based on the things that we like. So this is going to be like very distracting to them for the next, probably several weeks. I'm just trying to figure it out. I think as much as possible, they'll try to just like move on. And I think that's basically what Phil Spencer's message is. It's like, hey, this sucks. A lot of the stuff is from a couple years ago. It's not really relevant anymore. So like, focus on the future, which I think is good, but I don't know if it's going to be quite that easy. But I think that's the general, the message. So yeah, it's shitty. But at the same time, it's for us, it's like interesting to watch.
It's a gold mine.
Yeah. Like, so I know there's a lot super deep and like dissecting every sentence and number, and like I just have better things to do with my life. But I know it's like a gold mine for people who are wanting to dig into that stuff. And to me, it's like funny. Everyone's like, oh my god, like what, like how do people talk like this, or like this is what these emails are? And I'm like, yeah, like that's it's a corporation. They're just constantly trying to figure out ways to grow and are exploring every channel to do that. And some of them seem pretty wild, like buying Nintendo or this was all before I think the Activision deal was announced. So they're making some of this stuff happen, right? I think it was even before the Bethesda deal closed too. So Bethesda, that went through Activision, I think as of like yesterday or a couple days ago, is like now a done deal. So they've worked their way through some of this stuff. I think for me and let me know if you saw something that was of interest to you, but like I didn't see anything that got me excited from like a games perspective. So like when you look at the roadmaps and all that stuff of like all the games that are coming out, there wasn't like anything, there wasn't like the next Banjo-Kazooie or that like people are really excited for. Like none of that stuff got leaked as far as I'm aware. But yeah, I think there was maybe like an Oblivion remaster.
Yeah, old stuff getting remastered, which isn't necessarily bad for us because we like remasters, but it's like, do we really want an Oblivion remaster or a Fallout remaster?
Just play Starfield.
Yeah. There you go.
Shit. Oh yeah, we'll get to that in my closing thoughts. So there wasn't from that angle, I was actually like underwhelmed by the leaks. Like there wasn't this juicy list of games that basically got revealed. And then there was maybe one other thing that I thought was interesting. There's some commentary around their investment in cloud, which I think was more current. I think it was like basically like this year we're spending as little money as possible in xCloud infrastructure and really just focusing on servicing the existing audience, which I think is like probably pretty small, which I thought was interesting. So I don't know if that's because they're just downplaying that as a means to get through this Activision Blizzard acquisition, because the feature of cloud gaming was like a big topic and was used as an argument against allowing Microsoft to go through with the deal. So maybe they just said, like, let's just pause all this stuff and get through Activision and then pick it back up. Or if they're just like really decelerating investment in cloud, which I think would be, I mean, if they have the data to suggest that's the right thing, that's one thing. But like that seems like it's kind of goes against what they've been saying around allowing people to play games anywhere and all that stuff. So I thought that was maybe one of the more surprising things, because I kind of viewed their focus and ambition with xCloud and leveraging Azure and all that as like almost kind of being a bit of a a differentiator versus what PlayStation's doing. So if they're killing that, then that's interesting.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was more of like they were probably downplaying it more so they could get the purchase of Activision Blizzard kind of approved more. For me, I think the most surprising thing is you kind of saw how down bad they are in terms of like titles that they should be releasing, especially with the delay of Starfield from 2022 into 2023. The emails going around there were more like, we have nothing.
That was interesting. Yeah. I read some of the email. To me, like, it was less about the actual information. It was how people, it was like the emails, like, and how people respond. I thought that was like pretty fascinating.
Yeah, all corporate speak, but the main point of it is like we nothing.
Ain't got shit.
Yeah, we got nothing. We need to throw money at something because we got nothing. And then also how much we talked about this before we started recording, how much they're willing to spend on trying to get exclusives for Game Pass or just have a certain exclusivity period. We saw Gotham Knights for like 50 million that they would throw out there.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah,
I would have loved it if the conclusion of that email thread was like, Starfield's out, we need a monster title to replace it. It's Suicide Squad. Which also hasn't come out yet.
Don't doubt it. They're gonna throw 200 million.
Yeah.
But it is insane, especially that they don't have anything lined up. There was no mention of anything sort of like Gears related, which is one of their biggest franchises. Anything Halo related, even though they have Halo right now, but they're not really utilizing their big IPs to any effect, and they don't have really anything down the road. And it's funny because it does look like after the Bethesda purchase that they kind of they're relying on everything Bethesda, which doesn't factor in well for the future. I don't think.
It's like they have. It's like they have like 30 studios, and it's just like, what are they doing?
Yeah, if I were like name 3 big Xbox games that are coming out soon, I would draw blank because I don't know. I'm not interested in anything.
I have no idea. Like they keep talking about like Forza, and so it's like nobody gives a fuck about racing games.
No offense to our listeners that play racing games.
I play them like they're on. Like I bought Gran Turismo. I play Forza, but like, it's not this like system selling. They're always marketed as they are, but like they just aren't. It's like a niche.
Yeah,
it's a niche title.
And then like in terms of the future, like we said, they're looking at a refresh of the Series X for next year, which looks like an Alexa. So, good job on that. I think you were saying that's probably gonna get switched or something, yeah. And then releasing the next console in 2028 that will be focused on the cloud, which at the end of the day we still don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. They tried to do that with the One when they tried to do like the whole TV entertainment system all in one thing, and that went nowhere. So if they don't play it right, it could probably. The same thing could happen. They need to get these titles on there, get good titles, develop good games, and that will sell your console.
It's almost like to have a successful games platform, you need
games.
You need games.
Damn, you should hire us. Hire us, Phil Spencer. Yeah, we might leak stuff every now and then.
I think even going back to how long have we been doing this podcast? 80 episodes.
80 episodes.
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Yeah.
I remember a year ago I was like still trying to be optimistic and being like, hey, they have all these studios. They just need a little bit more time to get things in order. Acquiring any company is always like way more complicated, and integrating that company into your way of operating almost always takes longer than you think. But I was giving them the benefit of that. I was like, okay, like they have all these studio, like we don't know anything, no Xbox first party titles that are getting us excited now. This was over a year ago, but if you just look at the caliber of studios they've acquired and how many things we don't know, I think there's going to be like a lot of things to get excited about in the next 12 to 24 months, and we just haven't learned anything. Like it's just like, how much more runway can we give them?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
And they're also mainly focused on Game Pass. They took the bet of, hey, we'll get more people if we have these first on Game Pass kind of games, as they did with Starfield, which I'm pretty sure made them some money, but maybe not as much as they probably would have hoped. Whereas Sony's kind of leaning on the, no, our first party exclusives, they're gonna be $70. We're not gonna put them on down on PlayStation Plus until way later down the road. Otherwise, we're going to cannibalize our sales. And I think on this end, just because we don't see the numbers, I think Sony's winning. It is the smart option at this point. Hopefully, something works.
Yeah, no, I think the Microsoft's expectation is with Game Pass, they could use that as like a way to drive adoption of the Xbox ecosystem. So whether that's through the console or through PC or through cloud or whatever, and I think they're willing to sacrifice the first, like the initial window of game sales for the first party titles as a means to just get more people into their ecosystem. But I feel like they just haven't seen, well, first of all, they just haven't had enough releases of first party titles to generate, that like marketing moment to get people to want to, subscribe. I think with Starfield, I think that was probably like the first big one in a very long time, going back to Halo Infinite probably was maybe the most recent one, the most recent big one before Starfield. And then Halo Infinite had just like mixed reception that I think probably didn't, probably wasn't that meaningful in terms of Game Pass subscriber growth. So yeah, I don't know. So I think that's their play. Like they're just trying to use Game Pass, eat shit on first window game sales just to get more people subscribed. But I feel like hasn't been working out as well. And from Sony's perspective, because they're already like the market leader, they have a huge market share. Like why would they do that when they know people are going to pay $70 to play the game day one? So I think they both have, and we've talked about this on the podcast before. Like, I think everyone's kind of positioned like Microsoft is wrong, Sony's right. And it's like, well, I think there's a world where both are right. In the event Microsoft actually demonstrates that Game Pass is driving new users to Xbox ecosystem, then that's a right strategy for them, given where they are relative to Sony and Nintendo. But then if it's not driving meaningful subscriber and Xbox ecosystem adoption, then it's the wrong strategy.
At some point you got to prove that it's working, and from the numbers and what people are saying, the kind of Game Pass subscriber has stalled at like 25 million, which is a good number, but you always want to see growth. So we'll see what the future holds for them. Hopefully they get the ship right back on track, especially now that the full Activision Blizzard deal has gone through and they've had Bethesda for at least a year and a half or whatever. We can see what the fruition is, especially with whatever the new titles are that they're cooking up. All right.
Can we name one? What's one Xbox first party title?
Like that's coming out, or because I can name past ones?
No, the one that's coming up in the next 12 months that you're like day one must play.
No. I mean, I can name some, but am I excited for them? No. Like Hellblade.
Next 12 months, yeah.
Yeah, Hellblade. I'm not excited for that, but I can name that.
Yeah.
No offense to Hellblade.
That was probably one of my most hated time. Like I was genuinely upset by how bad that trailer was.
Well, we talk shit about the trailer every time. Every time there's a new trailer, we hate it and we talk shit about it.
But the most recent one was like
even worse than the one.
Anyone who touched that in marketing should be fired. Yeah. Like it's just like it's just dreadful.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Like only like it's like Perfect Dark. is cool, but like that doesn't seem like it's coming out anytime in the
Yeah,
next 3 years.
I
So
I know that that's something that they say they're working on. Do I believe they're working on it? No, because I don't see anything.
they're working on it. There was this, they had a cinematic trailer for it, so they must be real.
Yeah, and no, nothing from Gears, which is like what, and then Halo. I think their only hope is if some studio comes in and just kind of delivers a hit that nobody was expecting, and that kind of boosts them. But that's not going to be enough, I think. It's just too many unknowns for what they're trying to offer people, and you need these big titles, these big names to get people to you. Because I can name a bunch of Sony ones.
Yeah, dude, it's insane. And I guess what I was trying to say before, just the TLDR of that is 12 to 24 months ago, there was a lot of unknowns with the future of their slate, but I was willing to be like, okay, let's just give them a little more time, but like it's we've learned nothing. And I think tying it back to the leak, like that's kind of what I was like, oh yeah, like I was hoping the leak would actually like tell us what the fuck games are coming out, but we still don't know anything. So
well, we were more confident a year ago because that's when they were releasing all these videos like, oh, these games are coming in the next year, and these are actual games. These are not like just videos, and you were confident. But now it's like a year passed by, and none of that was the truth.
And that was in response to the showcase where there was all like cinematic trailers, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's like
I can't remember.
Yeah. So it's like you're worse off than a year ago, and you lied. So we all just want games to be good and succeed and give us more. Do that.
Yeah, I think I might after Lies of P, then Yakuza, or whatever the fuck it's called. What's the
Like a Dragon.
Kiryu?
Oh,
what's the Kiryu?
The man who erased his name.
Yeah, I always say like the David Bowie song, like the man who lost the world or something, or what?
Life on
it's
Mars?
like no. The man who sold the world. That's what I was. Yeah, that's the song, right? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
I don't know David Bowie, bro.
Damn.
I know Life on Mars, and that's it.
Yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, so when that game comes out, so the Like a Dragon game, that's coming out on Game Pass. So they did talk about that at Tokyo Game Show date on Game Pass, which this was like a few episodes ago where we saw some footage for that game, and I'm like, I don't love the kind of the main line up until like Yakuza 6. I didn't really love that arcadey beat 'em up style, so I wasn't really looking forward to the next one, but it actually looks pretty fun. So now that it's on Game Pass, I'm definitely going to play it. But the reason I mention that is I think after those two games, I'm on team cancel Game Pass.
Yeah, can't they get in charge every month without using it?
Huh?
You don't want to be like me, get in charge every month and not use it.
Yeah, it was like I probably went like 5 straight months without playing anything from it because I was like, okay, like Starfield's coming out and that'll be my next. I think there was maybe like one other game. Oh, it was Exoprimal, which was a total dud. So I think it was Exoprimal kind of kept me from canceling. Then Starfield's also a dud in my opinion. So yeah, Lies of P, I downloaded it. I'll check it out, see if I like it, and then if not, I'll wait for Like a Dragon.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
And before we move on to the next segment, it's not like Sony is without faults because they're also doing their own shit on the side. PlayStation Plus price increases, titles that they have no idea when they're coming out as well. So that's a whole other thing. But it's just that Microsoft's kind of views are more glaring, and it's a bigger focus on them just because they haven't really delivered anything. Whereas Sony can at least still deliver, great first party, third party games. So we'll see. And then moving on to Nick's favorite subject, Nintendo. So Nintendo also had a direct, just showcasing a couple games that they will be releasing. Not the best of the three, I think. The best big
This
three
was
news.
like I've been giving him shit for just remastering old games,
And then they were like,
and like
"That's the
that's
whole thing
literally
about
like 50%
remastered."
of this direct
I think it was
is just like
75% of the direct.
fucking yeah, like yeah, I just
But yeah,
whatever. I've already beaten all these fucking games like a decade ago.
this is not for you.
Yeah, I know, but like I've been giving him like free passes. I'm like solid direct, just nothing for if you're a newer gamer or just younger than me, it was a solid direct, and these games are great. If you've never played them before, check them out. But just nothing for me. But I feel like now I'm at a point where like I need something for me. Like, is there anything for me ever? So I guess I just got to be patient for another year until
The
they have
Switch
no
too.
choice but to talk about the next Switch.
Yeah, they're actively trying not to talk about the Switch too.
It's like, how many more remasters can they? I guess they could just do it forever.
Yeah, that's how it works. Your kids will be playing all these games. But
Yeah.
in the Nintendo Direct, I'll just go over a couple of things that they announced, and we'll talk about some of the things that I was interested in that Nick is not. They had Splatoon 3 expansion pass. They announced the Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake releasing in February 2024. They showed off Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which is releasing in January 2024. A new Super Mario RPG trailer. The Princess Peach Showtime game, which will be mainly focused on Princess Peach and her millions and millions of costumes. So shout out to Barbie. Saga Emerald Beyond, the Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered, Pikachu Returns, Unicorn Overlord, I said Unicorn Overlord, which is a new game by Vanillaware, which super excited about. Luigi's Mansion 2, the remake HD, F-Zero 99, and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remake, amongst others. There was a whole bunch of other stuff, but maybe not as interesting. You're right. It's a lot more remakes and stuff, but some of these I didn't play. I wasn't as big as a Nintendo head as you were, so I didn't get to play a lot of these. I didn't play Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, so I'm super excited about that. Obviously, I'm still excited about the Super Mario RPG trailer because I love that game and want to get more of it. One interesting new one was Unicorn Overlord. We talked about this. I'm a big Vanillaware fan. Ever since Odin Sphere and those PlayStation 2 and 3 games. And what is it called? Aegis 13? Something 13?
13 Sentinels.
Yeah, 13 Sentinels.
Aegis Rim.
Yeah, so like they're a great studio, so I'm excited for all of that stuff. As far as everything else, definitely a lot of remakes that for newer people that play the Switch that didn't have an opportunity to play anything like the Tomb Raider or Mario versus Donkey Kong or anything like that. I think it'll be great for them. For us, like you said, we're just kind of waiting for the new things for us, or just give us something we haven't played, or give me Wind Waker. Give me a Wind Waker remaster, and I will be happy with that.
Just play it on your PC. That'll be better than anything Nintendo does.
But the thing is, I want to give my money to Nintendo.
Nah, they're good, dude.
Yeah,
they got enough money.
I don't want Microsoft to buy them, so I want to keep throwing money at them.
Oh yeah, okay.
But anything like I know you're like you played most of these or whatever. What do you think is good for just to bring new players into?
The two things that jump out to me. One is which you already talked about, but Unicorn Overlord. So yeah, also a big fan of that studio. I did play 13 Sentinels, had a really good time with that, even though that's like not really my genre. It's kind of like it's like a story game, but with or like what the hell is that genre called? It's like a story game, but then there's also some like kind of like strategy stuff sprinkled into it.
RTS. Is it like an
I guess. I guess.
It's a different genre. It's like its own exclusive thing. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. But the story was awesome. Like the art was incredible. Story was really good. So I had a great time with that. Looking forward to their next game, which is this. And I think it kind of looks like their take on Fire Emblem. would be like my crude way of explaining the trailer. I'm a big fan of Fire Emblem, so I'm on board with this. I'll just need to get it on PlayStation. I don't think they do PC.
No, I think the last one they did was for Odin Sphere, but it took them like 5 or 6 years to release it, so I wouldn't count on anything PC related.
I didn't look at the platform. I don't think it's exclusive to Nintendo, but I'm imagining this will show up on PlayStation, so I'll just grab it on PlayStation. And then the other thing I thought was funny was F-Zero, where I think there's like all these rumors, speculation around the Direct and what was going to be in it, and I think there was some speculation that there was going to be like something F-Zero, and I think for it to be this, I think everyone was just like, Nintendo is so out of touch.
But it's hilarious. It's like Tetris 99, F-Zero 99.
Yeah. And it's like not even a real game, right? It's just like part of the Nintendo subscription. So you need like Nintendo Online and you can play it through that. So I would say people are pretty disappointed. Maybe it's a fun game, but I think people just want like a proper next F-Zero game, which I actually wouldn't want that now. Like I would want that to be on the next Switch, not on this current system. So
yeah, not something.
I think we're probably better off. Yeah, I think we're better off like in a world where we actually get a new F-Zero game. Like I would rather it just be next generation anyway. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think it's better, honestly, that they're not really announcing anything or kind of pushing anything newer, just because it's very hard when you're about to release a new video game console and just kind of, get out there your best games. I mean, I think Sony was the only one that did it really well with The Last of Us and God of War releasing towards the end of a console life cycle and the start of a new one, and it worked really well. But it's hard to do. I think they're just, like you said, saving the big guns for the release of the Switch 2. So, even though we hate it, it's working out. It's either this, where Nintendo does their own thing and they just give you a bunch of their old stuff until they're ready to give you the new stuff, or if they get bought by Microsoft, they just burn their franchises to the ground with millions of iterations. So, the devil, it's all about the devil, and we know Nintendo. But the future looks bright. I think this will appease enough people who haven't played any of these games, especially with the Switch being so portable. And there's a couple nuggets in there where I might have to dust off my Switch and play them.
The Paper Mario game is good. The 1000-Year Door is awesome. So if you've never played that, I would definitely recommend that.
See, you don't hate everything.
No.
All right. Well, that does it. That does it for the big three. Definitely different. Everybody, the big three companies are in definitely different states. Sony's leading the pack, and they're good. Xbox is still trying to figure out what they're gonna do, and Nintendo just doesn't care. They're still making buttloads of money.
Hey, what do we do with these 30 studios that we've owned for multiple years?
Nothing. Let's just send emails to each other. But that's it. A lot of big news. They also had TGS this week. Honestly, a lot of stuff didn't come out of there that we hadn't heard previously. Capcom did its own thing, kind of showing off some Exoprimal stuff. Obviously, new character for Street Fighter 6, Aki. Looks really cool. Can't wait to get my hands on her. No mention of Monster Hunter. Super disappointed on my end. Square Enix did their own thing as well, especially focusing on Final Fantasy. So that was super exciting. But I was a little bit disappointed on the TGS side of it. Of like, they didn't really give us stuff that I thought they were, like surprises or anything like that. What do you think on?
Did you see Dragon's Dogma? Yeah. I think that was like kind of the main event from Capcom.
Yeah, but it was just cool. It looks good. It looks good.
It looks really good. So I think I'm down. I'm definitely down to play it. I'm still butthurt that I can't play it co-op.
Yeah, I think that's kind of tapered my expectations of it. That it's going to be a single player, which we do love, but definitely looks like a fun game that could be enjoyed as a multiplayer.
Yeah, I think that's it. So it's maybe not dissimilar to Gamescom, where it's just kind of learning a little bit more about things that we already know about.
Yeah, it was just I thought because it's the first big TGS after COVID. I know they restarted it last year, and then this year I felt like they were more stable, so there'd be more information, and there wasn't. But it's still been a big year for video games, so I'm not too mad at it. We still got a bunch of good games coming out before the end of the year, and we got a bunch of good games coming out at the beginning of the year. So not too disappointing. At least I have some games to play to kind of keep me distracted. So that does it for all the news we want to talk about. We're going to move into some closing thoughts. I will start it off. In terms of TV, I watched the One Piece series, which wasn't bad. And I think I said this before. I think it was much better than the Cowboy Bebop adaptation. I think they picked really good characters to really good actors to play the characters, and it worked really well. I'm not gonna say I'm super excited for another season, but I can't wait to see where it goes. It got me kind of wanting to read the manga again, so I started reading that again. So really enjoyable. And then I've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen. New season's out. I believe they got like 6 episodes out, because I've also been reading the manga, which has been ramping up really well. You guys should check that if you haven't. As far as movies, I watched Blue Beetle. I'm glad I didn't go and watch it in theaters because it wasn't great. It was okay. It wasn't
You were
great.
you were hyped for the movie.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this movie looks awful, and you're like,
Yeah, I was like, I'm
no,
going to support the
this is
Spanish
gonna be
community.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, my people, Spanish people. And I was like, well, I am glad I did not pay this for theaters. I will say, I thought The Flash was better, even though The Flash was wackier. But I like the suit. It was a good movie. They had the Buster Sword in there, so that was cool, but not that great. And then as far as gaming, playing Armored Core 6, we talked about this before we started, that we picked it up and then we kind of left it off, but definitely fun. I've been looking online because I want to make. I've been seeing a lot of cool Gundams that people have made, so that's pretty cool. Like, I think I'm super excited about that more than anything, but there's still a bunch of pieces of ACs that I need to pick up before I can make my ultimate Gundam Armored Core. And then playing some Destiny, there was a big glitch that was hilarious that happened last weekend where the guns were doing insane amount of damage. So people were just going into the PvP maps and just going ham on each other, and it was unplayable because everybody had these crazy guns that would kill you in like less than a millisecond. But in the PvE side, it was pretty fun because we could go and do these hard level content activities and just melt bosses, and I was able to, well, along with a bunch of the guys on Discord, able to secure like some really good guns, and it was fun. Like, even though it was like a really crazy glitch, Bungie said, listen, we can't really fix it without everybody losing a bunch of stuff, so we're gonna leave it, and then we're gonna get a fix for it where you can still keep your guns and your progress. So that was really commendable of them. I think they did a really good job handling it, where they could have just reset everything to a point before the glitch happened, but people were happy. It was fun. It's one of those glitches that kind of brings joy to everybody, and everybody was having fun, so I really enjoyed that. What about you, besides having a baby?
Yeah, I was playing the game of life. Yeah, not too much game time. I think as I mentioned, so the last couple weeks it was basically going to the hospital, spending a lot of time at the hospital, and then getting home and figuring out how to raise a kid. So not too much game time. I do think that'll improve in the coming weeks. I think all I really did was.
Did you figure it out? How to raise a kid? No, not yet.
No,
okay,
no.
Keep trying.
no amount of YouTube content is gonna solve that for me. So I think he's got it's learning through experience is the best. Yeah, all I did was I downloaded Starfield. I played it for 30-ish minutes, and it was so boring and slow and ran like shit, and then it crashed, and then I just uninstalled it. I was just like, not for me, not at this time. I got too much other like good shit to play.
All the streams I
I'm
saw
not
of it
dealing
was
with
like,
this.
this is so boring. I don't want to play this at all.
Oh my god, the
Interest.
opening is so bad. It's like, oh my god.
I'm pretty sure it's a good game for some people, but it does not draw me in.
Yeah, I honestly think Baldur's Gate kind of like permanently ruined like Bethesda's just so far behind with dialogue choices and actual like role playing, and so I think going from Baldur's Gate to this was like too much. So I think I need to just create some breathing room, and maybe sometime next year where there's like a dry spell on game releases, I'll pick it back up. Hopefully by then performance issues have been resolved, but there's this. It was pretty rough.
Well, that's very interesting because at times they were innovators with Skyrim and Oblivion, and now they've been left behind by.
It's like 15 years ago. It's like,
yeah,
it's fine. It's like it's not. I'm not like upset about it. It's just the thing that happened.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting when in the future, like Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect, and how groundbreaking that was, and you want to see if they evolved like is it Larian Studios?
Larian, yeah.
Yeah, like if they evolved like them, or if it's like, oh no, they kind of did the same thing they did with the other one. So that's interesting to see.
Yeah. So I think the experience is exactly what I projected a year or two for me. Like, but I was surprised by like the overall kind of critical, like that came in I think higher than I thought. But yeah, it's just not for me at this time. Maybe later.
Well, real quick, I think a lot of that from what I've heard reviewers and stuff like that is that also it takes a while for you to like really get into it and appreciate it, like 40 hours in or whatever, or maybe through a new playthrough. And like we don't have time for that. We don't want to do all that.
I don't have time for that. I think the last time that happened with me was with like, I think it was like Persona, or I can't remember, but I just don't have time with those types of games anymore, where you gotta invest 40 hours just to like make it be fun. Like I feel like there's something critically wrong with the game design, if that's what you need to do. So yeah, I pretty much immediately uninstalled it. Immediately went right into Baldur's Gate 3, which I had just completed, and I'm like, I just want to do a new run, and I'm way more excited about that than trying to play Starfield.
How many hours on your first BG3 run?
It was like 120.
Wow, and then just went right into another run.
And then right back in. It's like I'm playing the fuck, I can't. It's like Dark Urgency, or no. Someone's gonna make fun of me for not remembering this, but there's this like, I think it's called Dark Urge.
No, nobody in our Discord plays Baldur's Gate, so
okay,
I mean
okay.
They do, but
there's like when you're creating your character, like kind of like a background choice that you can make where, and I don't know all the details, but basically like you just have this dark urge inside you to like do insane things to people. So it's almost kind of playing like Dexter. Like Dexter kind of has this like this thing inside of him, and you can either like feed the beast or not. So it's already
the
created
beast
some,
is gonna
like,
get fed, isn't it?
well, you don't. I mean, you can, but you can play it either way. Like you get these like very unique dialogue options where you could do like something fucking nasty, or you cannot do it, and then so there's like a whole system. Well, I think there's like reward, like there's like progression and like rewards for I think playing both paths. But people recommended doing that on like your second playthrough because it's kind of this like very unique experience. So I wanted to try that out. Try just a new build. I mean, you can basically play this game forever. It's kind of
sounds super interesting.
How it works. There's so much you can do. I started that up, put hours, and then I think I had to go to the hospital. I can't remember. Like time is a bit of a blur for me, but and then I did. This is after the hospital. I did download Cyberpunk. So the Cyberpunk 2.0 patch was released a few days ago. So I played the game at launch. I beat it. I had a really good time with it. Haven't touched it up until a few days ago. Game looks awesome. Like it looks great. It runs smoother than I remember. But I only played it for like maybe an hour, so there's still way more to do in it. So I think what I'd like to do is, and maybe this is too ambitious, but it'd be great to just do like a clean new playthrough on the 2.0 build and then go right into the Phantom Liberty DLC. But that comes out that's like next month, I think. So
no, it's like Tuesday.
Oh, it's next week? Oh shit. Oh yeah, I'm not. Yeah. I think you're right. Okay, so I'm definitely not beating Cyberpunk before, but that's my ambition. Like, there's no I don't have to play the DLC the day it comes out, but I think that's kind of how I want to do it. That's pretty much it.
No, you've definitely lost all semblance of time.
Yeah. Like my sleep schedule's all over the place. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think so. What do we got? We got Spider-Man, Cyberpunk.
Well,
I still need to pick up Armor. I need to get back into Armored Core. Baldur's Gate 3 second playthrough.
There's a bunch of
Separate Ways.
Yeah.
Separate Ways DLC.
I know there's Liza P that you want to play.
Liza P. They're like, what the fuck?
Good thing we're not playing Starfield and wasting our time.
Yeah, I mean, so now that we've mapped that all out, you can see why I was like such an easy note for me from Starfield.
But that's the thing.
Literally no time for it.
It's been a good year. It's still gonna be a good end of the year too, and beginning of next year. So we've been eating good. There's no need to be having stale leftovers when we have the prime stuff ready still.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna wait a little bit more, and I'll probably do a new run on Cyberpunk. Like you said, there's also a bunch of stuff I still gotta finish. Armored Core. I want to wait for Spider-Man. I have been itching to play Red Dead for some reason. I'm a big Cowboys kind of guy, and I think I've just been hearing too much Red Dead stuff, so I'm like, ooh, maybe I should play that.
From the leak, you mean? Like there was some talk of a sequel, or
from the leak, and then I saw a commercial for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and then also like I played on PlayStation, which looked really good, but I never really played it on PC. Dude. So like I'm like, ooh,
so good.
It looks so good on PC.
It's so good on PC.
Yeah, so it's temptation, man. I gotta finish the games I have before I go on and just buy another game. But we're back, baby. We're back. Thanks everybody for joining us. Don't forget to go to our website, pressingbuttons.gg. That way you get all the links to all our socials and our Discord, which you guys can join. And then make sure you guys check out our memories card. Make sure you guys check out our memory card segment so you guys can make your own. We want you guys to participate. We love our community. We want to hear more from you to be on there. Look out for episode number 2, which will be Nick, which he will get to it when he can.
Well, we can talk about whether that's me next or
no. It's like
I'm definitely doing it, but it's a question of, is it me next? Is it community member next, then me, or I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I think it should be you next. Me and you first 2 episodes.
Okay. All right, fine.
We host the podcast, man.
I know. I'm just trying to be inclusive.
Yeah, no offense to our audience, but we don't want to have a rando as number 2. But yeah, and if you're hearing this, make sure you hit a like and comment. Congratulations to Nick on having a baby. You did it. Well, no, your wife did it, but you were there. So
we did it.
Yeah.
Is how it works. I don't know if you know this, but it takes 2 to tango.
Yeah, you got to get a shirt that says I was there.
I don't think my wife would appreciate that very much, but
well, she got a shirt that says I did it, and then I was there.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. We are happy to be back, and barring any more babies that are popping out, we'll be back next week.
There's a good 2-year grace period where you know.
All right.
So no, you don't have to worry about losing an episode.
Gotcha. It's only babies and holidays that we take off.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.